thinking about regular trips to other planets, but you're not just trying to get into orbit right now. You're trying to get into orbit with something that eventually could scale up.
Yeah, we know how to get to orbit. We've done that a lot. So the really hard thing is we need to have a fully and rapidly reusable rocket where all elements of the rocket are reused and they're reused quickly, like an aircraft. And this has never been done. This is the holy grail of rockets. This is to have a fully reusable rocket. Then you need to go one step further. It needs to be fully and rapidly. Yeah, it's like
a plane.
Yeah, like a plane lands, you refuel, take off.
How do you have time? Because I never understand you in regards to the way you run multiple businesses simultaneously. Sometimes it would require so much concentration. It would require. I would think this would be your whole being trying to figure out how to work this.
Yeah, well, I do work well.
But it's crazy.
And I apologize for the reason I was late. I was like coming from some critical meetings. So just doing. Normally, I'd be meeting until I'm working for like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Every night.
Not. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, usually not.
How much sleep?
About 6 hours.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
For you, for someone who does as much as you, that's actually impressive that you can squeeze that in.
Yeah. I tried sleeping last total.
Yeah. So you feel like 6 is what?
Yeah, 6 is that. I don't find myself needing wanting more than 6.
So when, like with the Saturn V and Space Shuttle and all these other rockets, they would have these parts that would get the ship
You'll thank me
up
later.
into space. But they would
I've done
descend
the
down
hero
to
thing
Earth,
before.
crash into the ocean, and they would never.
That's right.
How do you avoid that? Like, what is the difference between the way these things? The whole thing goes together, and then it lands together.
Well, we're on the wrong planet for a single stage to orbit.
Right.
I think one thing to appreciate is like space. Getting to space is easy. Getting to orbit is hard. So you only need maybe 1 or 2% of the energy to get to space, to where the atmosphere is thin, compared to what you need to get to orbit.
No more
and if you
games.
get to orbit, now you've got to burn off all that energy. You're coming in as a medium. You need a powerful heat shield. So it's not super difficult to get to orbit at all. And if you get to orbit at all, then making those stages reusable, you can come back and
Let's try this.
and then the upper stage is very difficult because it's so much energy. All the energy you put into it is going out. So it's you're literally coming in like a flame. And most things are just melt or vaporize. So like if you as a human try to come in from orbit, you'd just be pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the space shuttle, they had tiles, right? That was the way they avoided these heat shields. What do you use for the SpaceX rockets?
Yeah, we're have a more advanced version of the shuttle tab, but you got to use some kind of it's some form
And is it like a one piece? Or is it in tiles?
with each structure,
Don't worry, I got this.
it's tough because the tiles are they're kind of like, I don't know, it's not quite the right analogy. They're kind of like thinner plates, like they're brittle and their coefficient of thermal expansion is different from metal. So metal will expand, contract differently with the tiles. And the tiles metal is full because it's got cryogenic fluid behind it. So you have this
This is
differential
hardly
expansion
my
and
worst
contraction,
feat.
which makes the gaps contract. The gaps
started my legacy to be one of peace,
in the crack,
not
and it's not that
endless
bad.
war.
And then you melt the metal. So, but if they're too close, then they bang together and they crack. So you've got to get it just right. Where they're just right.
Not ignore.
The way that they're attached to
Every power
body
stone
moves around a little bit.
use our call.
So there has to be some sort of room to move. It can't be one large piece of ceramic.
Yeah, you can't really make such a giant piece of ceramic because you've got well, I guess you'd have like a super gigantic oven, but you really need you need expansion joints, expansion contraction joints. It's quite difficult to do a single piece tiles. You think of it like tiles for a
Now, these things have multiple stages. How many stages? Taking off.
Something has two stages. So that's the minimum number that you can do on the table. Gravity. That's gravity.
Beyond
strong gravity.
the Thran still have secrets to uncover.
It would be, it's like relative. Mars is around just under 40% of Earth's gravity. Moon is about 6. And getting to lunar orbit from the surface of the moon is easy. But you're in solar, so lunar landing, just the top of the moon and get to Earth orbit, it's giant. Very non-linear.
So what happens to the first when you take off the separates stages? How does the first stage get you?
Well, have you seen how the Falcon 9 stages work, where they come back and land?
No.
You haven't seen that?
No.
Wow. Yeah.
So does it come down with parachutes? Does it? How does it land?
No, it lands propulsively with the thruster.
So that,
the engine.
really?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
designed to take off.
Yeah.
So that is the bottom of the rocket that launches it straight up, and then afterwards it comes down and lands like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then the top piece and then land separate.
Yeah. Well, in the case of Falcon 9, the upper stage burns. Falcon 9 has the fairing, the top, where the satellite. The fairing has, once it gets into space, where the atmosphere is thin, it's still a long way from orbit, but it's space, so you no longer need the satellite doesn't need to be protected by the nose cone, the fairing. And so that it sort of splits in two and falls away. So we'll recover the fairing halves and recover the booster, but we lose the upper stage. Yes, but it's not really possible to Falcon 9. The architecture is like. If we made the upper stage, our payload to orbit would be dramatically less. So, in order to have more orbit, scale is important. Things big. There's always value to scale. For the family, like for a truck, you wouldn't want everything. Pickup truck, you want semi. You don't see ships and cargo ships have an outboard motor.